webinar series, we invite young researcher, particularly those who are doing well in their research, like PhD student like Tanjila, and also we invite eminent economist like Dr. Rafael to for feedback to present as a keynote discussant on this presentation. So this is a unique opportunity, we think, for the students, for the young researchers, and also for the audience who would like to know some research techniques, research methodology, and also hearing from a mature student like Tanjila. So today's topic is very important issues, as you know, the application of game theory, and I think she will explain the techniques and how it can be used. I would expect from her. I don't know detailed about her research, but how we can explain a bit in the context of Bangladesh. And we know our this event is a flagship event for Rapid. Particularly, Rapid is focusing not only research issues, also focusing on the capacity development of young researchers. So I know not only our Rapid colleagues, different colleagues from audience from across the country, both home and abroad, they are also participating through social media. So I think it would be really useful for the audience, particularly those who have some interest in quantitative analysis on trade issues. So it's a really important opportunity for them. Hopefully, after the event, we'll come up with a nice, very impactful comments from our discussion. And also, if you have any question, you are free to most welcome to ask the question. Finally, I would like to congratulate the presenter Tanjila, and um, our discussion for their time for the Rapid, and also I think we all will be benefited through their inputs. And I'd like to thank to Dr. Din Islam, because regularly we are organizing this event and Dr. Din Islam is conducting these issues. And also, I would like to thank Zara for also hosting this event on behalf of Rapid. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Din and others.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. So let me now briefly explain the rules. So Tanjila, you will have about 20 minutes to present your paper. Then we'll have discussion, comments from Dr. Rafael, about 10-12 minutes. Then I hope there'll be a lot of questions and comments and feedbacks from audiences. So we'll have about uh, 15 to 20 minutes open discussion. And hopefully we can wrap up everything by around 9. So without further ado, Tanjila, please take the floor about 20 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dean Islam, sir. Thank you very much. Actually, it's an honor to actually initiate the year with my presentation. I'm really hopeful that this I will get some great feedback and suggestion from today's seminar. And also, I'm really honored to have this esteemed panel and all of you who are present today. I'm really grateful for your time. I really hope I'll have some really great initiatives. So I'm starting my presentation. So I'm just asking if the slides are the slides are okay to view, like it's not the presenter mode.
Yes,
Is it?
it's perfectly visible and it's in the presenter mode.
Okay, then I'm not gonna use the presenter mode, but this. Okay, so you all already know the title of the paper. So let's start with the flow of the paper. So first I started with the introduction. In introduction, I'll discuss why the topic is important and how it is different from any other topic, like the study on tariff, and why this study is particularly important. So the infringement of intellectual property rights, or in short, IPR, can be defined as the illicit use, reproduction, or distribution of intellectual property that are protected by law, such as patents, copyrights, trademark, and trade secrets. Infringement of IPR violates the rights of the inventors and creators, which further reduce the incentive for future innovation and creativity. The infringement of IPR and the imposition of trade sanctions are interconnected issues that have significant implication for global trade and economy. So, IPR infringement can lead to trade sanction as a means of enforcing law that protects the rights of innovators. And also, trade sanction and tariff are both tools used in intellectual trade policy, but they serve different purposes and have distinct characteristics. Trade sanctions are primarily political tools used to achieve foreign policy objectives, while tariffs are economic measures used to regulate trade and protect domestic industries. So, according to Naqvi, in 2010, they said that tariffs could be used as tool within trade sanction, whereas trade sanction encompasses a wider range of economic restriction beyond just tariff. For these reasons, the study to investigate the impact of trade sanctions are different from the study related to tariff competition. So, also according to Eaton and Engers in 1999, demonstrated that a sender country's commitment to impose sanction if the trade does not comply is crucial for success. Incorporating a multi-stage game, Lacey and Mew in 2004 showed that effectiveness of trade sanction depend on the preference of both sender country and the target country. Their study also highlighted the trait of sanction that can be as effective as their imposition, often leading to compliance without actual sanctions being applied, and showed that sanctions should not occur if players have complete information. And my result in this paper is similar. As Ash Siddiqui and Prodipto in 2011 utilized game theory to analyze trade sanctions by modeling the interaction between sender and target countries, and found that increasing the severity of economic sanctions may paradoxically reduce the sender country's probability of enforcing those sanctions. In this study, I'm gonna also investigate if this is true. Chen et al. In 2024 employed evolutionary game theory to analyze trade sanction in the context of oil cooperation between regions, and it reveals that when the benefit of cooperation are high, regions tend to collaborate, while smaller trade conflicts losses lead to sanction. Based on the literature review, it is evident that very few studies have investigated the use and success of trade sanction in punishing the IPR, punishing the IPR infringement given the economic condition of the sender and target countries using a sequential game theoretical model. The study also finds that the impact of trade sanction against IPR infringement is mixed and ambiguous on a country's economy. And I'm going to discuss on that further in the results section. So the research objective and the scope of the study is to analyze the effectiveness of trade sanction using a dynamic game theoretical model in preventing IPR infringement. The assumption of the study is that when firms choose to invest in new products, the country tries to maximize gain from trade of innovative products by forming IPR and imposing trade of sanction in the event of IPR infringement. Effectiveness of trade sanction to enforce the IPR law may vary based on the economic condition and the severity of the punishment. The study could help in understanding the conditions and condition under which countries or regions might choose to impose or lift sanctions and the potential outcome of these decisions in maintaining IPR. So the empirical model consists of two players. I mean, we have two countries, home country and foreign country, which is denoted by CH and CF respectively. Firms in home country will decide whether to innovate new product or not, depending on the demand for new good. According to Buri and Lahiri, in 2019, firms in home country will invest in developing new products after succeeding in research and development campaign when the increase in profit due to the innovation is greater than 1. This means that firm will incur the cost of investment in research and development as long as the expected marginal benefit from innovation is greater than 1. And why is that? Let's see. Following Buri and Lahiri, consider the profit from successful innovation is represented as pi s, and profit from no success in innovation is represented at pi n. And here, given in the consecutive 1 minute, let me use the pen. So in this equation, in the second equation, in the first equation, you see this is the profit when innovation is successful, and this is the profit when innovation is not successful, where E represent the cost of innovation. That means the producer take a risk when they start research and development, and if this is successful, they will have a higher profit, which is pi s, and if the innovation doesn't provide fruitful result, then they will not produce the innovated good and have a lower profit, which is pi n. Here, x and y is revenue from newly innovated products and all other products respectively, and again, as I have said, E is the cost of innovation. So the expected profit can be expressed as follow, where you can see this is actually a weighted average that I have done. If the innovation is successful, then the weight is E E divided by 1 plus E. And if the innovation is not successful, then the weight is 1 by 1 plus E. So this is actually, if we add these two weights, it will be equals 1. So given that, after deriving the first order condition with respect to the cost of innovation, I can derive the optimum level of cost of innovation as such. So from here, you can see that this is just simple algebra, and from there I find this equation. So in this equation, what it essentially means that the cost of innovation has to be greater than 0, because without any cost we cannot have any research and development. So the cost is in on the positive number line, and this have to be equals this portion, which is the root of the difference between profit if the innovation is successful minus the profit if the innovation is not successful. So from that, we can understand that the firm of home country will choose to invest in development of new product, given the cost of innovation is always positive, because if the cost of innovation is 0, that means there is no innovation investment. That means there is no innovation. So given that, the firm of home country will be willing to, or at least indifferent to, produce new product, given the last condition, which is here, the profit from successful innovation minus the profit from no successful innovation will have to be greater than 1. So if home country's firm decide not to invest in producing new products, then the payoff from trade that the home country receive will be 0. Since here, benefit from trade before innovation, TN, which is denoted as TN, is normalized to 0. And why I did that? Because we all know that balance of payment have to balance. So the amount of import have to equal the amount of export, but that's not necessarily true every cases. But let's assume that for the sake of the model, the TN is normalized to 0. So without any innovation, if the country chooses to trade, it will have a normalized profit from trade. So this assumption is based on that, since I didn't innovate newer products, I'll have to trade with the older product, and since the market is in equilibrium, I'll have a zero sum gain. So, however, if firms in home country decides to invest in developing new products and are successful in producing new and differentiated products, then the home country can gain monopoly power over the international market by imposing IPR and gain net trade benefits, which will be equal to the monopoly profit from the newly invented product, which is greater than 0. Here I'm using the fact that when the net benefit from trade of the innovative products TS is at least equal to 1, which have to be equal to the cost of innovation, the firm in home country is indifferent between producing or not producing the new products. And from this we can see the value of trade gain if the home country is successful in producing innovative goods is equal 1. So net gain from trade will be 1 in case firms in home country decide to produce innovative goods, and this will result in positive economic gain for home country. And so to secure this monopoly profit, home country will impose IPR on foreign country. In the model, it is also assumed that the foreign country do not invest in research and development and have only two options: either import the innovative products and comply with the IPR, or violate the IPR by copying the technology of the home country and producing the newly innovated products. So these are the sequential dynamic game model that I have presented in a extensive form of representation. So let me just tell you what's the difference between sequential and simultaneous. We all know that already, but just for the sake of the model explanation. So Prisoner's Dilemma is a classic example of simultaneous game. In sequential game, all the player know what the other player has done before, like they know the footprint before they choose their strategy. And this model is dynamic since it is a multi-stage game. Static game is for one period, and in first period the home country decide to whether to innovate or do not innovate. If the home country decide to innovate, foreign country sees this and they either comply with the IPR or infringe the IPR. If foreign country comply with the IPR, the game ends there. If the foreign country do not comply with the IPR, home country will see that and they will decide to whether or not to put sanction. And if the home country do not put sanction, the game again ends there. But if the home country decide to put sanction, then the ball is on foreign country's court, and the foreign country can decide from the three choices that they have, three action, and they are sanctioned and do not comply. I mean, they will again put sanction against the home country and will not comply with the IPR, or they will put no sanction and also will not comply. And the last choice is that they will put no sanction and just comply with the IPR. So the sequence of the game is follows. I mean, I'm explaining that again. In first stage, the firm in home country decide whether to produce innovative products or not. Given home country will protect the market of innovative goods using IPR. If the firms in home country do not produce innovative products, then the game ends and both countries receive zero payoff. If firms in home country choose to produce innovative products, then the game continues to second stage. In second stage, if foreign country sees that there is positive economic profit, they will try to enter into the market of the innovative product by copying the technology from the home country. For this reason, they will choose between violating the IPR or complying with the IPR. If the foreign country choose to comply with the IPR, the game ends and the home country will receive a payoff of 1 and the foreign country will receive a payoff of 0. If the foreign country choose to infringe the IPR, then the game continues to third stage. And in third stage, given foreign country has infringed the IPR, home country will decide whether to initiate the threat of sanction or not. If home country decide not to impose a sanction on foreign country, then both countries will have a share of market permanently, and home country will have a payoff of 1 minus A, and I will discuss later why it's 1 minus A. And foreign country will have a payoff of A, where A is between 0 and 1. If home country decides to impose sanction on foreign country, then the game continues to last stage. In fourth stage, which is the last stage, given home country has initiated the threat of sanction, and foreign country will have 3 options to choose from. First, impose sanction on home country and start a trade war in order to achieve permanent control over the portion of market for innovative product and has been acquired through IPR infringement and get a payoff of A minus SH. SH is the cost of sanction, where the SH is also the loss incurred by sanction imposed by the home country on foreign country. Since foreign country will also impose sanction, the payoff for home country will be 1 minus A minus SF. So A is the amount that home country will lose to foreign country if foreign country choose to infringe the IPR. In second choice that foreign country has is they can choose not to impose sanction and decide to retain control over the acquired portion of the market for innovative products. Thus, foreign country will have a payoff of A minus SH. That A is the portion of market that foreign country has snatched from the home country, while home country will have a payoff of 1 minus A. And third, foreign country can choose to comply with the IPR and not impose sanction to avoid the loss due to sanction imposed by home country. In this case, foreign country will let go of the control over the portion of the market for innovative products and return to having a payoff of 0. On the other side, home country will get back its portion of market that was lost due to IPR infringement by foreign country and have a payoff of 1 again. In this model, I have assumed that there is no international intermediary like any trade organization to settle the war or settle the dilemma. Settle the dispute between the two countries. And I have used discrete portion of choices. They either put total sanction or no sanction. There is no continuous amount of sanction. So these two simplifies my model. These two assumptions simplifies my model further. So these are the table normal form representation of the game, where I show that what will happen, what could be the payoff if each player decides each strategy. So this is the general form. So now let's go to discuss the case 1. In this case 1, I have assumed that both home and foreign countries are big economy. They have all the resources they can achieve to innovate or invest in research and development, but foreign country choose not to invest on innovation. But both countries share a large market and consumer base. By infringing IPR, it is possible that foreign country will be able to produce the innovative goods at a lower marginal cost, since Stiglitz in 2015 states that following the innovation of leader countries and adapting to their technology are cheaper, which we can see. Suppose for two countries, one is home country is USA and the other country is suppose China, and we all know that how this work. I mean, infringement of intellectual property right is a major problem for US innovators because China has all the technology to actually duplicate or copy from there. So this will help foreign country to acquire some of the market for the innovative good, making home country worse off and have a value of A. And if the value of A is closer or equal to 1, which is the barter model, they will compete for the price. So this is the normal form representation for the case of two countries where two countries are big and the blue shaded regions are where is my cursor? Okay, the blue shaded regions are the optimum strategy that each player will take given the choice of other player. So here we can see that if both country have a bigger economy and they're competing for price, then the country with the lower cost will have the upper hand, and in this case foreign country will choose to not innovate. So and why is that? It's because for home country they know that in the price competition they will lose all the portion of the market, that is A is equal or very close to 1. And that's why they already know that, since it's a sequential dynamic game, they already know that if they produce their cost will be higher. That's why their prices will also be higher, and if the foreign country enter into the market with cheaper technology and cheaper cost, they will have the upper hand, and they will actually snatch all of the market. So the two countries will not share the monopoly profits, since both countries will try to gain more trade benefits by increasing the quantity of the innovated products and thus reducing prices. So this brings us to the case of Kuhnert model and Stackelberg model. Here both countries will have some share of the market that is greater than 0 and less than 1. In this case, the subgame outcome will depend on the intensity of the sanction imposed by each country. Assume that the two countries engage in heavy trade due to their large consumer base and big economy, making them dependent on each other. When the intensity of sanction is high for both countries, both of them will try to avoid sanction. So in this case, the blue shaded region shows the optimal choices given the choices of other pair, and in this case, home country will actually innovate given that the value of sanction is lower for each country, because as you can see, if this portion is less than 0, I mean payoff is negative, then they will not choose to innovate, and this can happen. That's why the country will choose. 1 minute, please. I'm sorry. So is it visible clearly, the slides?
Yes, perfectly.
Thank you so much. So in these cases, since home country have an upper hand in impose, if they impose sanction, foreign country will be greatly hampered, and foreign countries knows that in this case, home country will always choose to innovate, and in the event of infringement of IPR, they will definitely impose sanction on the foreign country. So ultimately, the result is either they will have. So that's the Nash equilibrium strategy for this dynamic game. So when both home country and the foreign country are big economics, also only foreign country depend on the trade between home country and foreign country, the analysis will give similar result. On the contrary, if home country is heavily dependent on the economy of foreign country via international trade, then the scenario will change. Here, home country's optimal strategy is to innovate and do not impose sanction while knowing that foreign country will infringe the IPR. This is because the net gain from trade is still greater than zero for home country. For foreign country, the optimal strategy is to infringe the IPR. In the case of home country is hugely dependent on foreign country's trade. And this is shown in this normal form of representation. Now let's go to the second case where home country is big country and foreign country is small country. As Dr. Yunus sir has asked, in the context of Bangladesh, this could be presented as a similar context as Bangladesh and other big trade organization, trade economies such as US and China. In this case, foreign country is the follower country and its trade balance depend on the home country. For this reason, even if foreign country copy and adapt the technology of the home country at a cheaper cost, it does not have the capacity to surpass the production of home country and thus will not be able to acquire the entire market. The market economy will follow the Stackelberg model, where home country is the leader economy and foreign country is the follower economy. Additionally, sanction of foreign country on home country will not have any impact on the economy of home country. But if home country decide to put sanction on the foreign country, it will have a drastic effect on the foreign country. Thus, two types of situation may arise. The first one is foreign country comply with IPR, fearing the trade imposed by home country. Second, it can infringe the IPR and produce the innovative products at a very lower cost for the consumer class who otherwise were unable to consume the innovative goods due to high cost, which we see for like medical purposes, like many vaccine and essential medication are allowed to copy for the foreign country, foreign small economies. This will increase the reach of the market for the innovated goods and will not affect the existing share of the market that is already in the position of home country. This will happen since the copied product will be of low quality, since the cost of production is very low. So it will not affect the existing market of the good quality product. Additionally, because of the brand value of the product, where consumer prefer the branded products over cheaper products, foreign country will not be able to enter the portion of the market dominated by home country. This will not have happened in case of two big economies. Since both countries will have the capacity to produce in a large scale and in good quality. So this is the normal form representation of the game in case of home country with a big economy and foreign country with a small economy. Here for home country will always choose to innovate and foreign country will not infringe the IPR given the sanction of home country will be severe on the foreign country. But if it does not invade the market of home country, in that case foreign country will be allowed to infringe the IPR. So in conclusion, we have seen that given all the players have perfect information and they know what the other player has doing. In this case, actual sanction may not be imposed in case of big economy and small economy, and in cases where the both countries have similar big economy and they will compete in a patent model, so compete for price, I mean. So in that case we see that sanction will never happen, but the trade-off sanction is important in case the market can be protected by the IPR rule, and the other country, I mean the foreign country, have feared that if the sanction is imposed on them, they'll lose, they will have a negative trade balance. So with that says, thank you so much everyone for keeping patience with me. Now I'm actually looking forward to any question that you have and any suggestions that can improve this paper. Actually, the paper is based on very initial uh, understanding of game theory, and it's not very complicated. But since this is an theoretical paper, I'm actually hoping to do some empirical work on it so that I can actually show how the theory really work. I mean, will work in real life or is working in real life. So that's the thing. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Tanjila, for sharing your interesting theoretical results. Let me now invite Dr. Rafael. Please, if you can share your thought on Tanjila's paper. We
Rafael,
can't hear
we can't hear you.
uh, still no audio, Dr. Rafael. Okay, I think there's some issue with audio, but it's very interesting paper, Tanjila. I'll
Thank
just
you, sir.
let me ask you some clarifying question from my
Sure,
side.
sure.
I was just wondering, you showed the payoff or profit uh, at I think it was two type of profit, profit from
Yeah.
innovation and profit from all other. Okay, we have Dr.
Okay,
Rafael.
sorry for the
Yes.
interruption. Hopefully you can hear me now. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I
Now,
had some problem
thank
with
you.
this. Okay, thank you. So I'll give you some very technical feedback in a couple of minutes. But first, let me tell you, I really like the motivation for the paper. It's an extremely timely paper. I think some of you may have heard that just yesterday there was a big uh, thing in Wall Street, like a lot of Nasdaq stocks were falling because of a new AI model that China has just come up with. So this might become a very relevant example of what we're talking about here. Okay, and in any case, yeah, it's U.S. and China that's usually the big thing. Okay, so the motivation is very nice. You have some very good ideas. You have a very good starting point for a model. I would say the model, as you rightly said, it is very preliminary, but you do have some very good economic ideas. You just haven't incorporated them into a model yet. But I'll try to give you some tips to keep the model that you can improve on and still keep it tractable so that you can solve it. And then maybe a lot of the results, the economic results that you are saying that should happen, maybe you'll be able to mathematically show that all these things happen. And you'll probably get mathematical results that actually show that what you're saying is actually going to happen. As far as I read your paper, I think that you started with talking about firms that have some incentives to innovate based on whether the home country is actually providing enough incentives or protecting them from foreign theft of their technology. I would say that can be an interesting idea, but maybe that can be something that you do later. Okay, so maybe first figure out a way that the two countries, the home country and the foreign country, let's first figure out what to do with these games. And most importantly, it's important to figure out credible punishment strategies that the home country can employ and when they can do that, when they cannot do that. So that's going to be the first step. And then basically this other element that the home country has to deal with providing incentives for the firm. This is kind of like a principal agent setup, and the home country has to ensure that they can punish foreign countries in order to provide incentives. Otherwise, OpenAI is going to get discouraged and they're not going to innovate anymore, and then technology dies in that country. Okay, so that can be like a long-term thing. For now, I think first focus on building the model just between two players. And I would say that you don't need to include more than 2 countries. Just 2 countries is good enough. But what you really need to do next is make the sanction levels a choice and not just some ad hoc arbitrary thing that you have.
Yeah,
Okay,
I agree with
very
that.
good. Okay, and you can take the sanction levels of the 2 countries, you can put them some levels between 0 and 1. It should be a continuous interval, but you can just
Yes.
say the maximum sanction level is 1, anything between 0 and
Actually,
1.
I agree with you, Dr. Rafael. Actually, when I started the paper, I know that I can either use the continuous variable for the amount of sanction or the discrete, but since I really had a small amount of time and didn't have any time to explore the topic, if I use the continuous amount of sanction, I use a discrete amount of sanction to make the model simpler, way simpler. But I also think that, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, but making it continuous actually makes it easier, believe me.
Okay.
Having discrete amounts actually not necessarily a good idea. You want interior solutions that you can
Mhm.
vary with. Okay, so that's the first thing, make it between 0 and 1. Second most important thing, you really need to have this, is you need to include some costs of imposing sanction on the other country. So I
Yes.
saw that you have, if one country imposes a sanction on the other country's payoff goes down by 1 times the sanction level. That's
Mhm.
good, you should have that. But there needs to be costs for the home country itself if it wants to
Yeah.
impose sanction on the other country. And I would say then you should have actually 2 kinds of costs, okay? One kind of cost should just be some number, let's say small c times the sanction level. This is basically the cost of providing sanction, and you can think of this as how powerful this country is, how
Yeah.
easily it can punish the other country. That's one thing. The second thing, there should be another type of cost which has an interaction term. This could be something like sanction level of home country times sanction level of the other country. That cost is a measure of how closely their trade relationship is linked, and then that's like mutual destruction kind of idea. If they sanction each other, they both hurting each other. And the parameters, if you want to put it like parameters next to these interaction terms, they kind of, you can vary them to say how easy it is or how closely they're linked in terms of trade and the power of the country. Okay, powerful countries can more easily maybe provide sanctions. These 2 kinds of costs you really need to include, and then it becomes a choice problem, like what level of
Yeah.
sanction do I want to provide, and then you can actually solve it. It's
The
actually
cost
not
of
going to be too
sanction. Yeah.
difficult. Yeah, it's not going to be too difficult. Once you set up the costs in a proper way, it should be easy, and then you'll have maybe an unique equilibrium where the sanction levels are going to be depending on how powerful the countries are and how closely the trade relations are. So the things that you wanted to talk about in the economic intuition, your economic intuitions are very good. By the way, you just need to incorporate them in the model. Okay,
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
that's one thing. Okay, you can do that. That should be the next step. This should be easy. This should not take you very long. This should be easily done, and then you'll have an equilibrium actually. Okay. So second thing, this could be more difficult. Second thing, this could be, maybe it's going to be more difficult and take more time. If you want to um, improve the model, make it come up with more interesting ideas, you can make it an infinitely repeated game. Okay. Now
Yeah.
that might be, actually it's
That,
not as difficult as it sounds. And what I will tell you is that before you try that, what you need to make sure is first, make sure that the possible payoffs, try to come up with possible bounds on the payoff. So I think the maximum possible payoff any country can have is 1, but
mhm.
based on how you set up the cost, maybe also have the worst possible payoff for the countries, -1 or -2, something like that, based on what kind of cost you incorporate. And then make the bounds like symmetric for the 2 countries. Don't need to make them different. Okay. Then you can use something called the Folk theorem to come up with what equilibria are possible in an infinitely repeated game. So if you're not familiar with this idea, there's a Folk theorem for subgame perfect equilibrium. And you need to have the same game, same structure, the same steps and everything. You just need to repeat it over and over and over again.
Correct.
Okay. And then you'll have a bunch of possible equilibria, and maybe you can look at some of these equilibria to think that, oh, this equilibrium looks interesting. When is it possible to have this equilibrium? maybe then it'll give you interesting new ideas, new results. That could be another way you can extend your model. But again, making it an infinitely repeatable game is something that you need to look at.
I think we lost Dr. Raphael.
Yeah, there may be some connectivity
Technical.
issue.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, let's wait for a few seconds. Let's see whether.
Sorry, guys, I don't know why I'm having so much technical trouble, but hopefully I'm back and you can hear me.
Yeah. I
So where
was
was I?
in
Infinitely repeated game?
infinitely
Yeah.
repeated game. Yes.
Okay, but the results that you need to look at for infinite repeated game is something called a folk theorem. And if you study the folk theorem a little bit, you'll see what subgame perfect equilibria are possible in an infinitely repeated game. Okay, you should know that in infinitely repeated game there are like a lot of equilibria. In fact, like there are infinitely many equilibria, and you'll see that some of those equilibria might be more interesting to you, and you can think about that. And then you can come back to think about how is it possible or if it's easy for the home country to provide incentives so that the firms will be happy to innovate. Okay, so being able to punish countries that steal your technology, that's actually a kind of an important thing to provide incentives for your own firms. Okay, so as you know, OpenAI may die in the future, may not, depends on what the US government can do. So maybe this is like going to be a good study in what powerful countries can do as opposed to weak countries whose technology industry just dies because people can steal it. Okay, so the technical things, I hope you got it. And if other people didn't understand all the technical details, that's fine. But the main point is that the ideas are very good. And Tanzila just needs to incorporate these in the model. It might take time, but as you learn, you'll find it easier and easier. Everything I told you, it's actually not difficult to do. Uh, if you ask for help, you'll see people like they'll say that this is easy to do. So it's actually not difficult, but it's a good learning process for you. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the comments and suggestion. I really appreciate it. And definitely, actually, to be honest, I have a preliminary understanding on folk theorem. No idea. Deep. I
No,
mean, I don't
okay.
have any deeper understanding, but yeah, I'll definitely work on it. Thank you very much. Especially, I like the idea that I can extend the model with infinite timeline. That's a really good idea that I'm gonna check up on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I think two period is not going to help you very much though. So instead of going
Yeah,
two period, just go
I
infinitely
mean, the
repeated.
model is, I mean, 4 period game. I mean, for the convention of the study, I did that. But yeah, these 4 period can repeat extensively. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yes, but that makes it like four different stages. But
Yes.
by repeated, I means that every time you just do
Yes.
the
Yes.
same thing over and over
Every
again.
steps. Yes.
Yes,
Yes. I mean, the T is infinite. Yeah. I understand that. Thank you so much.
yes, T is infinite. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raphael.
Thank you,
Let
Invite.
me now let me now ask our participants here, audience. It was a bit technical paper, but I hope you got some taste of econ theory. So if you have any question, any even clarifying questions to our presenter Tanjila, please you can unmute yourself.
So I have a question, sir.
Yes, Hussain.
So if thank you for the presentation, Tony Lapu.
Thank
So
you.
my question is, if we think in terms of reality, if we come from the theory to reality. So let's say that home country is USA and foreign country is China, and we know between these two countries there are geopolitical tensions, especially in terms of technological issue. So, if from your study, can we conclude that as there is a high level of interdependency between the two countries, especially USA is very much dependent on China's manufacturing. So, is the conclusion is such that US should keep on innovating and should not impose any sanction on China, fearing that there will be counter sanction from the China which will harm USA?
Thank you very much for the wonderful question, Mr. Hossain. So the thing is,
Angela,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Let us take more questions, then you can answer
Oh, okay. I'll
together.
forget each question then.
Okay,
Okay. I'll
yeah.
just need to write it down. Yeah. Okay.
We also have some questions from our Facebook Live. So if you allow, then I can read it out.
Yes, Jara, please.
So Mashruku Zaman Sadid has asked a question that says, the paper assumes CF does not innovate, focusing solely on imitation. Yet emerging economies increasingly invest in research and development, example China's patent filings. Question is, if CF has endogenous research and development capabilities, would that threat of sanctions still deter infringement? Could this lead to a race to innovate equilibrium where both home country and foreign country compete in the research and development rather than imitation?
Okay, thank you so much. Should I answer these two questions first? Because I think they're almost, related, but not entirely the same.
Okay, let me ask any other question. Okay, then Tanvi, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So initially, we have to understand the difference between a theoretical paper and empirical paper. That's the first. A theoretical paper assumes that demand is downward sloping, right? But I can introduce a theory where I can show that for some good, we all know that for some good, demand is actually upward sloping, so for drugs and other stuff, right? No matter what's the price, it doesn't matter. So suppose. So what we have to do is, to prove a theory, we have to use the empirical analysis, like using data and other stuff. So when I say the theory, in this theory, I'm saying that yes, in reality, we see that US and China is really they have very intricate net of trade and interdependence. So what I'm doing is I'm actually separating all of the whole economy to, if we look a single farm, and from this farm we can go to industry level, and we can see how much this industry have the impact on that particular country's trade, and then we can analyze this, like if you understand that in electrical vehicle manufacturing and production, I guess China is way forward than USA, right? I'm not, not good with trade. I just recently started my my education in, not education, it's like interest in trade is very new and it's not deep like all of you guys. But the thing is, so each country has an upper hand in producing another good, specific good. So if we consider whole economy, it's very intricate and very difficult to pinpoint the total effect, right? So what we have to do is we have to separate all the other things and only focus on one industry. Suppose the industry of smartphone technology, which is better, Samsung or Apple? So they're not same, but the technology is different, but anyone can infringe the intellectual property right and copy the product. So in that cases, the consequence in real life is not that easy. This theory can be invalidated by actual data. So that's what we need to see, because this is not an well-established theory. It's just an initiation from my part. So before saying anything in conclusion that yes, this will happen, we need a backup of actual real life data on particular industry, on particular product trade, and then we can understand if on that product IPR law will be effective or not. And when we consider the geopolitical war and other stuff, it's really way beyond the scope of the paper. So I'm just uh, focusing on a simple model with suppose the economy has only one product. So and there are several firms in the industry and they all choose to innovate and all choose to produce innovated good. So the focus is really narrow. So without any real application of the theory using data and analysis, there is no way to tell what's right or what's wrong. That's why we use the empirical analysis. And the second is, yeah, then again, since the focus of the paper is very narrow, if a country choose to innovate, that's immediately fall on onto the home country criteria. Yeah, US can innovate for one good. China can also innovate on another good, and they will be respectively home country for each innovated good. So for the simplification and the easy understanding of the theory, I just said that a foreign country does not innovate. That does not mean in real life any foreign country does not innovate. That's not uh, the how I intend to present the foreign country as. I hope that's that's answer your questions.
Okay. Thank you, Tanjila. Any other question or comment or any feedback you'd like to share with Tanjila? It was a very interesting talk, Tanjila.
Thank you.
Especially the time is the Trump now re-elected, and he might do many such things. Sometimes it appears he might be very strategic, but in most of the cases it's just random. It's spur of the moment. But one thing is that these intellectual property rights actually implemented through WTO. So if IPR is violated, uh, you probably would be surprised to know that in real life, countries like US or Western Europe actually intentionally made the dispute settlement body of WTO ineffective, uh, even though they are the innovative country. Most of the innovations are from farms in those countries. So the issue of this IPR infringement is very complicated. It has the legal side, it has the technical side, and it might have some trade implications. But economic sanction is hardly applied because of IPR infringement. Uh, it would be excellent if you can actually motivate your paper with some example, maybe some exogenous shock in trade policies, like last Trump era, or maybe this Trump era. And the I was just wondering that whether you can do some simulation, assuming some parameter value that uh, actually what would be the equilibrium, and or whether actually they use the trigger of sanction or not. But that would be actually useful for trade policies, because in case of trade policies, you need to know the number, and trade the strategies uh, also has like further implication domestic economy like employment and other things. But thank you so much. I hope you develop your paper further and it will get published in a very good journal.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rafael, for your comments. I
Thanks.
believe those are very useful to Tanjila. And we hope to see you next time again in our webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And if you are interested to present your research in our webinar, please let us know. But thank you again for joining us today. Thank you. Have a good
Thanks.
night. Thank you.